I just found it so hard to get to that place where I was so entertained and so consumed by what was around me that I wasn't thinking about everything else anymore. It is Sunday, January 22nd, 2022, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about Disney losing its magic. Hello everybody, I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. I also wrote a book called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship with crazy travel stories of things that have really happened to me around the world. And you may notice I am not sitting in front of the red sofa today. In addition to the travel vlogging videos I do, I also sit down at home in front of my couch every week and make a video discussing some travel subject. This is gonna be one of those videos, but I'm not at home. I'm currently in, I'd like to call it my second home, in Florida. This is a house that one of you out there owns, and I'm so happy to be staying here again. Alex, thank you so much. We're having a great time. Everybody who's coming is here now. Mom and her friend, my brother, my sister, Marcus, and yeah, today is where we're gonna have our first big dinner together. Oh, another thing I wanted to say is a lot of you have been asking in the last video if this is the same house that we stayed in last year, and yes, it is. And so if you know where it is, don't come show up here and knock on the door, please.
That would be creepy.
There's a fan meetup coming up next week, and unfortunately, if you haven't signed up for that yet, I can't put any more people on the list. We're gonna have a good time with the group that is coming, but I already had to send the list and I can't change it, so sorry, but there will be more of these kind of meetups coming in the near future, so just stay tuned. Anyways, tangent, I'm here in Florida, and of course, while you're in Florida, one goes to Disney World. Like I said, I go to popular and not so popular tourist destinations, and I think Disney, with many people, has become more popular, and with a lot of other people has become less popular, and at the moment, I have to say I belong to the less popular, and if you're new here, let me just fill you in. I'm a former Disney cast member. I'm somebody who has done like long stays at Disney World for every year for like the last 15 years maybe. So this is not a video to bash Disney. There's a lot of things that I think are not going right now. I want to talk about some of them, but mostly I want to have like an open, I would say, discussion to tell you about what I'm dealing with right now, what I'm searching for, and what I'd like to get back to. And it would be great if any of you have gone through this or know like a solution in a way, and that is, we were at Disney Hollywood Studios the other night for the Disney After Hours party, which was really great. Very low lines. We got on a lot of rides. We had some snacks. It was a really fantastic way to spend a couple hours at Disney and do a lot of things without waiting. And that is something that is not really possible at the Disney parks anymore. But the thing that's bothering me the most is, on this last visit, while we were in the park, I just found that I was experiencing it in the same way that I experience going to a Six Flags park or going to my home park of Valley Fair or Heide Park or Hansa Park in Germany where I live. I had a great time. Everything went pretty smoothly, but it was missing that like little something that I'm just gonna call it Disney magic that made me forget about all the outside world, about all the problems, about all the plans I have coming up, about anything that's really stressing me, and just be there and enjoy what was happening to me at that time in that moment. In the past, I've been able to like sustain that mental state of tricking myself that Disney World is the real world. Let's not go overboard with that, but in the past, I've been able to do that, like get there and be there longer, and for some reason at the moment I can't do it anymore. And I don't know if it has to do with just the situation right now and the things I have going on in my private life, or if it has to do with what a Disney World visit is like nowadays. That is what I want to talk about. If you haven't been to Disney World in a while and you haven't been keeping up with what a visit to the parks is like nowadays, first of all, it's just always really crowded. The days where the People Mover at Magic Kingdom was a ride that you could just keep going on because there was never a line, you could just walk there, go right up that escalator and get on the People Mover, those are over. There is always a line for the People Mover, and sometimes it's like over a half an hour for the People Mover. So the parks are always crowded. Another thing that has changed, if you haven't been here in a while, haven't been keeping up, is you can't just wake up in the morning and go to one of the parks. You have to reserve what park you're going to in advance, and many of them, depending on what time of the year, like peak seasons and stuff, there are days where you can't get into a park because all the places are full. I've talked about this before on the channel in a way that's a good thing, that they're controlling how many people are getting in the park and they know how many people are coming and can hopefully staff accordingly. That's a good thing. But I miss the days where you could stay in a Disney hotel, be picked up by the Magical Express at the airport and leave all your troubles behind, because not even the Magical Express exists anymore. Like I said, I'm not making this video to bash Disney. There are some things that I'm disappointed in as a Disney fan. One elephant in the room, one thing that's obvious, one thing that I will not be able to change, perhaps, is, as with anything, like if there's a Broadway musical or something that you went to and you loved, if you go back and see that musical every year or watch the same movie every year, eventually you're gonna get to the place where it's not so special anymore. I know that. That's obvious. And I've been coming to Florida, like I said, for every year for like 16 years, and I used to work at Disney, so some of the magic is going to disappear because of that. But when we were at the park the other night, I just found it so hard to get to that place where I was so entertained and so consumed by what was around me that I wasn't thinking about everything else anymore. I feel like I can't get there anymore and I don't know what to do. That's what I'm trying to find. One factor in the whole thing is nowadays when you're visiting a Disney park, you also almost always have to have your cell phone in your hand the whole time. And for me, that has always been a problem. Staring at my cell phone does not make me forget the outside world, because a lot of what I do for work has to do with my cell phone. So, I mean, I guess one way I could do it is say, all right, today I'm not taking any pictures, I'm not making any posts, I'm not gonna use Genie, I'm not gonna use Genie Plus, I'm not gonna use Lightning Lane, not gonna use all those things, I'm not gonna look at the wait times in the app, I'm just gonna go there and, you know, maybe even leave my phone in the car. I don't know, that might be something that would help me get back there. Another thing that's probably kind of obvious is the last few times I've been there, we haven't stayed at a official Disney resort. We've stayed here at this beautiful house. Of course, that's different. This is like a house. It's a neighborhood. Of course, we have way more space here than we do in the Disney hotels, but there's a lot of advantages to staying in a house that you don't have at the Disney resorts or staying at any hotel, to tell you the truth. And I've talked about that in another video. But maybe staying on property again would help me get to that mindset, but I just cannot justify spending the money to stay on property at the moment, because I'm from the old school where the Magical Express was included, where extra magic hours was included, and where park hopping was possible, and that's all gone or not the same anymore. And I don't know if those are the things that I need to be able to like go there again and forget all the outside world, or if it's just done. You know what I mean? Like if I've just used it up. One suggestion that I came up with just as I was sitting here talking about this is maybe I need to skip a couple years. Maybe that would help to finally get that little kid on Christmas feeling again, that,
oh, this is all so cool and all so special.
Maybe I just need to take a break. And I think that that is something that a lot of people have been doing, which is also very unfortunate. I know from talking to a lot of you and seeing the comments when I make a video about Disney that there's a lot of people who are also, just like Marcus and I, go every year, stay for at least a week in a Disney resort, have it all set up. And a lot of you have been saying, you're done, you're not going back. Also, annual pass holders and things like that. Maybe taking a break is the solution, but what I wanted to say is it's unfortunate that the way things have changed have moved so many of us to say, in order to make it enjoyable again, we can't go as often because it's too expensive, because it's too crowded, because there's no Magical Express and they took all these things away. You know what I mean? It's so unfortunate that that's a factor, but I guess it is. I know another thing that was really special about the last few times I was here and is not so special about this time is we were just a bigger group the last few times. It was my nieces and nephew, and like 3 times ago, it was their first time, and then last time it was their second time. We all knew a little bit more about what was going on, but just having young people there or any people there who haven't been there that often, that helps keep it more magical because it's fun to talk with them and get their fresh opinions, their, first reactions to things like Flight of Passage or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Rise of the Resistance. It's fun to be a part of those very first memories of these experiences. And the kids, I say the kids, even though the 2 oldest are in college, couldn't come this time because of many different factors, none of them having anything to do with the kids. But this time it's just grown-ups, and I don't know, maybe that's also a factor. And I'm sure I have some nieces and a nephew who are watching this video right now saying,
obviously.
Hi guys, miss you. Of course, at the after hours event, there were many less guests, but that's not like this whole day. It's not waking up in the morning, taking the bus to Magic Kingdom, riding Space Mountain a couple times, park hopping over to EPCOT, having lunch at Chefs de France, these entire Disney days. I don't know, I just can't get into it anymore. And I just wish I could figure out what needed to change or what I need to change from my mindset to enjoy it again. And I feel like I'm kind of chatting around in circles, and also everybody else is sitting down by the pool and I'm up here in the bedroom, so I don't want to be sitting up here for too long, but I didn't want to not make a video on Sunday for you. So if you're one of those Disney fans who feels the same way that I'm feeling right now, please hit those comments, let me know about the things that are sort of bothering you or factors that you think might influence the way that we experience spending time in the Disney parks now. As I mentioned before, let's not make this Disney bashing. We all know what the big problems are. And if you're somebody who still goes often and still just has a great time, what's your mindset? What's your game plan? How do you set up your day to still sort of forget about the outside world and have a great time like I remember doing all these times in the past? Please let me know in the comments below. Now would usually be the time where I do comment on your comments live on air. I'm gonna skip that in this video. I hope you understand. And now I'm gonna go back down there to the pool. There may be a margarita with my name on it and perhaps some nachos. And I look forward to meeting some of you in just a couple of days at the event, and I will be back here very soon. Bye-bye.